do running competitions? No? Maybe that's the reason why. Roger Banister, on May 6th of 1954, he broke the 4-minute mile. For years prior to that, people had been trying to break this record of a 4-minute mile. So they were getting very close to this mark, but they could never crack the 4-minute mile. It got to the point, for 9 years, it was a record just under the 4 minutes. And one of the big reasons it stood is because of a limiting belief. See, up until that time, they thought it was humanly impossible to be able to run a 4-minute mile. They actually medically thought that your heart would come out of your body, that you would not be able to do it, the stress would not be able to be taken by the human body. So obviously because of that, if we have that limiting belief, we're thinking, why even try? In fact, I don't want to kill myself by doing that. But Roger Banister, he didn't believe that. Roger Banister, actually, interesting story. So he's the one that broke the 4-minute mile, but it's kind of an unlikely story because years prior to him breaking that 4-minute mile mark, he was actually at Oxford as a medical student. So he got there on scholarship, and he kind of liked running. He wanted to get in shape, so he started taking up running, and then he decided to join the track team. He barely made the 3rd team track team of Oxford. Barely made it. But interestingly enough, he kept practicing and practicing, and probably 3 years before he broke the 4-minute mile mark, he was in an Oxford race, and his job actually was to do what they call a pacer. The pacers just kind of set the pace for the first string runners, right? Well, he went right through. At a certain point, he's supposed to stop and just kind of run off, and he set the pace for the guys, and he's supposed to let them pass. He didn't. He kept going and going and going, and he actually won the race. Didn't break the 4-minute mile, but he came close, to the point where he went, you know what, I think it is possible that you can do this. So he trained, and he, as I told you, on May 6th of 1954, broke that 4-minute mile. Interesting though, 46 days later, the record was broken again. So it was held for 9 years, the belief that no one could do this, the belief that it would kill you, or human body wasn't able to absorb that type of stress. And again, that short period of time, it was broken again. Since we're all kind of getting going here this morning and got coffee, and we're trying to I'd like to get you moving a little bit because motion does create emotion. So everybody, do me a favor, let's stand up and let me give you a little example of what we mean. So I want everybody to do this. I want everybody to take their right hand. If you're left-handed, you can take your left hand. So take your right hand if you're right-handed, and what I want you to do is stick your index finger out. Turn around as far as you can. So I want you to turn around, and I want you to find a point behind you. Turn around, we're going to do it, and try to find a point as far as you can stretch. Now mark that one point in your mind. Look at something, I'm looking at the computer, or look at something you're going to look, okay? Now come back. All right, so now I want you to keep your hands up, close your eyes, and I want you to turn around and believe that you are stretching as far as you can stretch. It's the best stretch you've ever had. Many of you probably don't know this guy named Stretch Armstrong, but he's a toy in the 70s. He could stretch all the way around. So what I want you to do is, in your mind, right now, go ahead and do that stretch, okay? So you're stretching. It's one of the best stretches you've had. You've gone around quite a bit. Come back. Keep your eyes closed. Now I want you to go around again. Okay, go around again. This time you're actually almost like wrapping yourself around yourself. Now, one more time. I want you to come back. Now, one more time, I want you to stretch as much as you can. And again, this is all visual. I want you to turn around and stretch as much as you can. You're wrapping yourself around like maybe 3 times around your own body. Now, I want you to turn back around and see where you can point. Okay? See if you can point further. Now, raise your hand if you're able to point further. Come back around. Raise your hand if you're able to point further. Okay? Some of you were. Usually about half the people in the room can't point a little bit further. So my question to you is this. Did you take like some crazy stretch yoga class in the last 2 minutes that enabled you to be able to stretch further? Yes? No? No. So obviously it was the belief. It was a limiting belief. And you know, you may say to me, Chris, we didn't have any limiting beliefs going into this on how far we could stretch, but in your life you probably do have limiting beliefs. I can only do 10 cars a month. 15's the top. No one in this dealership's ever done more than that. So just remember that story when you talk about things that are impossible, and you talk about things that can't be done. Remember our friend Roger Banister. On May 6, 1954, he proved that what possibly is impossible can be possible.